Bonjour à tous et bienvenue dans la série Meet the Founder d'Impact Lab dédiée aux startups agritech. J'ai eu le plaisir il y a quelques semaines de rencontrer Ricardo Accolla qui m'a parlé de sa startup Ripe. Ripe utilise la blockchain pour sécuriser la transmission d'informations entre l'ensemble des parties prenantes de la chaîne de valeur agro-industrielle, en allant des fournisseurs d'intrants jusqu'au consommateur final. Je vous laisse découvrir notre échange. Hi Ricardo, thank you so much for being with us.
Hello, Salma. Nice to be with you today.
So you're here to tell us about Ripe. How does it work?
Yeah, so Ripe.io is a company that provides a blockchain-powered platform to access information on the origin, the journey, the quality, and the sustainability of food and ingredients. So basically, we enable all the participants in the agri-food supply chain to digitize events and digitize all sorts of information related to the food and ingredient, and all the data attributes that allow for then transparency, visibility, and trust.
And we hear about blockchain a lot regarding fintechs. And it's interesting to see another use of blockchain applied to the ag value chain. Can you tell us why it's important? What does it do basically for the stakeholders?
Absolutely. And we had that question many times, especially in the early stages of the company back in 2017, when people were associating blockchain with Bitcoin and with cryptocurrency and with all the fintech application. And the reality is that blockchain and I would say the mother technology, which is distributed ledger technology, has a lot of application in the optimization of the supply chain, and especially in food. The reason why it is a very appropriate application in food is because of the structure of the agri-food system, which is still very analog, so needs to be digitized, very distributed and complex, and with the different actors of the food supply chain that do not talk to each other and do not trust each other. So having a technology that allows them to share information in a secure and trusted way has opened a lot of opportunities in the agri-food space, not only for optimizing supply chain, so reducing costs, reducing time to access information, but also to address some critical challenges of the food system, such as the $1.2 trillion food waste challenge, the recall challenges that are hampering major players in the food supply chain, as well as all the authenticity and fraud. So that's why I think blockchain has an enormous potential to help building more resilient and trusted food systems.
And that's very interesting. So basically, the blockchain allows to secure the information that's transferred along the value chain. And therefore,
Correct.
It allows the farmers easier access to market, for example. What are the applications?
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of
Yes.
how it comes back to the farmer.
Yeah, that is a very important thing. So with every technology, we are looking at bringing value to each player of the supply chain. And at Ripe, we focused a lot on the harvest and pre-harvest part, so on the farmers. So we have a project, just to give you an example, that is focused on sugarcane farmers in Central America, and that is public information, where we collaborate with the central banks of the country, we collaborate with the sugar mills, we collaborate with all the associations of farmers to bring back value to the farmer. In that sense, they have value because by sharing information and by being able to demonstrate more precise forecasts and information about the quality of the crops, they are able to access financing from banks. So it is a technology enabler to have access to financial or technology benefits. So that is an example on how it helps farmers. And by also jumping on board and digitizing, having a digital identity, farmers are now able, through the distributed ledger, not only to share information with the downstream partners, but also to view where their food goes, how is the reaction of the processor, of the producer. So by having that visibility on what happens downstream, they can also change and improve their processes, and obviously reduce losses and improve margins.
That's great. I'd love to hear more about your experience as an entrepreneur. Um, for you, what would you say were the three biggest challenges, or the biggest challenges in general, that you've been facing as an agri-tech entrepreneur?
Well, yeah, it is extremely motivating, obviously. So for me, the biggest challenge as an agtech entrepreneur is to find the right fit to market, obviously, because we all have fantastic ideas on how to change the agri-tech supply chain, for example, or how to improve with new products, nutrition and health, or accessibility to food. But it is all about finding the right fit to market. So how is my solution really helping that farmer right now? Is it affordable enough? So obviously, finding the compromise for a product that is maybe not perfect but ready to market, that is a big challenge. In terms of personal challenges, I started my entrepreneurial life as from corporate, where I was responsible for incubating new technology within a company, and then I made the leap to jump outside and to join a early stage venture. So I'd say the personal challenge was really to get out of the comfort of corporate and really do what I was believing at that moment was the best path for me, and taking that risk.
And what would you say was the trigger? Because I think it's a question that a lot of people ask themselves. As you were saying, they're in the comfort of their corporate life. What is it? What was it for you that made you jump ship, I would say?
The trigger was, I would say there was one particular trigger. That was a meeting with an entrepreneur, a woman entrepreneur from China, when she shared that passion of the company that she was creating. And she was looking at to get a co-founder and some talent in the company. And when I felt that energy, that passion from this entrepreneur, and that was the trigger that made me do that decision to leave corporate, because I needed to share this to kind of receive that kind of energy, and also to give this kind of energy, which was a little bit dispersed in the corporate environment amongst a lot of corporate rules and some barriers to entrepreneurship. So that was the trigger. I would say the other one that is, I'd say, important, much more practical, so to speak, is the fact that I was able to secure through that first consultancy engagement with this entrepreneur a first source of income. And that, while of course not comparable to what I was earning in corporate, gave me the sensation that I could make it on my own. Securing that first source of income, albeit very partial, very small, was I would say fundamental to kind of make the leap.
Yeah, it's true that it's a real challenge for entrepreneurs as they launch their venture. And what would you say is the achievement you're most proud of?
The achievement I'm most proud of. So, well, first of all, in general, the fact that after, I would say, 5 years that I left the company, the corporate, I still have the same passion and energy, and I was able to make it so far by being an entrepreneur. So that is let's say, more of a long-term achievement that I can mention. The other one is more related to a project. I jumped on board with Ripe.io in 2018, first as a consultant and then full-time entrepreneur within the co-founding team. And the project I was hired for was digitizing taste of fruits and vegetables from a restaurant chain that was sourcing all over the country here in the US. And they wanted to understand how taste was impacted by the condition of growing, the condition of transportation, all the conditions of the food supply chain. And I was able to set up an entire program of how to digitize taste data and to predict how a produce would taste based on the conditions of growing and transportation. And the client is now presenting that program to each of the consumers that enter their store, and they are all fascinated by that information on how taste can depend on the condition of growing. So I'm very proud of the success of that program.
That sounds super interesting. I would love to know more about it some other time. And just as a last question, what if you had one piece of advice to give to an aspiring agri-tech entrepreneur, what would that be?
That this is a very hot space right now. It's the right moment to jump in the agri-food because of the world that is around us, environmental challenges, the importance of nutrition challenges as well. So I would say, if you have a great idea, make sure that you have a solid team. Make sure that you have access to maybe accelerator programs like yours, so that you find like-minded people and jump. So that would be my advice.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. That was great. Thank you for sharing those insights, and we wish you best of luck with Ripe.
Thank you so much, Salma. It was a pleasure to be with you today.